The Philippines aims to be among the first countries to benefit from the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement by next year to spur economic growth. How important is this deal to the country and to the lives of ordinary Filipinos? RCEP lead negotiator and Trade Assistant Secretary Allan Gepty joins us now tonight with the answers. Assistant Secretary, thank you po for joining us on the program. How will this economic partnership boost the country's economic growth, which has been hurt and impacted by this ongoing health crisis?
Thank you very much, Rico, for inviting me. The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement is coming into effect at the time of global uncertainty, both economically and politically. And I think we have noted that as a result of the pandemic, we really have to boost the confidence of the business sector. Now, the question is how important are RCEP to the Philippines? First, in terms of trade performance, we have to bear in mind that almost 50% of our products being exported are going to these RCEP countries. And for purposes of our imported products, we source almost 68% of these products also from these RCEP participating countries. So basically, the RCEP countries or the RCEP participating countries are key trading partners of the Philippines. And we cannot afford, of course, not to be part of this mega free trade deal.
So how soon, Assistant Secretary, will the Philippines benefit from this RCEP agreement?
Well, the benefits of the RCEP agreement will come into place once the Philippines becomes a party to the agreement. So right now, Philippines is still a signatory. We're still in the process of seeking the concurrence of the Senate. The President has already ratified the same. So we hope that the Senate can act on it immediately so that by the time that RCEP comes into force on January 1, 2022, Philippines is already a party.
All right, that's good news, no? And that's in about 2 months' time. Asek, which sectors will benefit the most from this trade agreement?
Well, based on the study of Dr. Cororaton, among the sectors that have notable improvement, particularly in exports, would be sectors on electronics, machineries, vegetables or agriculture for that matter, and also processed foods.
And these sectors that you mentioned, you know, Asek, more than 4.5 million jobs were lost, no, over the past year due to this pandemic. How many jobs will these sectors create for our kababayans?
Well, the calculation is that by 2030, the implementation of the RCEP agreement would generate more than 1 million jobs. That is the result of the study of Dr. Cororaton. But one thing that we have to take note is that in the implementation of the RCEP agreement, there are several areas that would benefit here. Number one would be the area on goods, wherein market access will really be enhanced, so that would be beneficial to our exporters. Number two, on the service sector, which is very critical to the Philippines because the service sector basically contributes more than 60% of our GDP. So with a stable and predictable environment that the RCEP offers in this time of the challenges we are facing, then definitely it will boost also investments on various sectors. And in fact, we have noted that prior to the pandemic, one sector that there was a stark improvement is our manufacturing sector with an average growth rate of 6%. And then the third area would be, of course, the area of investment. So we also noted that many investors are coming from these RCEP participating countries. Now, if Philippines would be part of this mega free trade deal, then from the perspective of the investors, they would expect a stable and predictable business environment in the country, and that it would further strengthen our rules-based system.
And everybody knows, Asek, that this economic partnership is backed by China. If you take a look at the country's imports, it's now at 68%, and foreign direct investments is at 58%. Don't you think that this will give more China leeway to dump their products into the Philippines and also dominate the FDI sector?
Thank you, Rico, for bringing that up. I think we have to clarify that. RCEP, contrary to the common notion of the public, is not a China-led free trade agreement. It was ASEAN who spearheaded and who conceptualized this free trade agreement. So in other words, for purposes of reference, RCEP is an ASEAN-led FTA, not a China-led FTA. Number two, we have to bear in mind that this is a free trade agreement. So in other words, we are laying down the rules of the game. So that is very important because in conducting trade, business, and even investment in the RCEP region, that means that the economies who are parties of this RCEP agreement would be working on basic rules and disciplines. So that notion that this is backed up by China maybe is triggered by the fact that China is one emerging economies right now.
Thank you so much for your insights on RCEP and how the Philippine economy will benefit. Lead Negotiator and Trade Assistant Secretary Allan Gepty.